Hello and welcome. Today we will be going through the setup process for installing the AccurateTax plugin in your WooCommerce store. The AccurateTax plugin will allow your WooCommerce store to automatically calculate sales tax on your transactions. These instructions are also going to be available via the link in our description box below. Now, there are 6 steps in the setup process. However, before you even begin, you are going to want to make sure you have collected the following information and have it readily available. These items include your WooCommerce site and admin login, the AccurateTax plugin, your license key and checksum, and the list of states that you would wish to calculate sales tax for. Once you have collected this information, you can begin the setup process. Our first step will be installing our plugin. Begin by logging into your WordPress backend with your admin login. Once logged in, navigate over to your left-hand side, and in these columns, you should be able to find plugins. Hover over plugins and click the Add New button from the flyout. Click the Upload Plugin button. Then, click the Choose File button. And locate the downloaded AccurateTax plugin. Click the Install Now button. Then click Activate Plugin. Now that you have installed the AccurateTax plugin on your WooCommerce site, you will next configure your settings. So this second step involves changing your settings on your WooCommerce site. Begin by going to this left column once again, hovering over WooCommerce and choosing Settings. From there, a page like this will pop up, and make sure the Enabled Tax Rates and Calculations checkbox is checked. If not, check it, scroll to the bottom, and click Save Changes. Then, in either the left-hand column under WooCommerce or up here along the top with the tabs in the Settings page, click AccurateTax. On this page, enter your license key, checksum, and service URL. Then, check each of the states that you would wish to calculate sales tax for. Below that, check the Enable box. Below that box, you can leave these 2 boxes checked if you need them, but do make sure to uncheck them before using the module in production. And then, finally, scroll to the bottom and click Save Changes. Now that you have successfully changed your settings, you will move on to creating a default product tax class. So in this third step, you will create a default product tax class by starting out on your AccurateTax account. First, you will log into your AccurateTax account, which is separate from your WooCommerce login. On your AccurateTax account page, hover over this Settings button and then click the Tax Classes, which should pop up out of this flyout. Once here, click the New Tax Class button. In this small pop-up, enter Default in both boxes and then click the Create button and close. In the Store Tax Classes list, you should now see an entry for Default. Click that line. On the right side of the page, under AccurateTax Tax Queue, choose any state from this list, and it doesn't matter which one. Right below that, in the Available Mappings dropdown, find the entry for Default Taxable Goods, and click that line. Then click the Assign to All States button. With these steps completed, you should now have a default product tax class. And next, you will move on to adding a shipping tax class. So the fourth step of this process involves also creating a shipping tax class. You will need to create a separate tax class for shipping charges on both your WooCommerce account and your AccurateTax account as well. Start with your WooCommerce by logging into your site's admin. Under WooCommerce Settings, which once again is found along the left column, click the Tax tab. Here, the Additional Tax Classes box lists all of your defined tax classes. To add a new tax class, place your cursor in the box and then type Shipping for the class name. If you wish to add any more, you will need to use the Enter key, starting a new line each time to separate the tax classes. When you have finished adding your tax classes, scroll to the bottom and click the Save Changes button. Once the page reloads, on the same page, you will look for the line labeled Shipping Tax Class. Change this value to Shipping. And then the other half of this section involves logging into your AccurateTax account and once again hovering over the settings at the top of the page and clicking on your tax classes in the flyout. On this page, you will add shipping to the stored tax classes list by clicking on the New Tax Class button and entering shipping into both fields. Then click Create and Close. From here, click on the shipping entry line in the classes box, and then choose any state from this drop-down in the right side. In the mapping box, map your class according to the applicable product tax class. And in this scenario, it would be transportation, shipping, postage, and similar charges. Then map it to all states. Now you have created a shipping tax class on both sites, and you will next create your additional tax classes. The fifth step involves creating additional tax classes, such as for apparel, medical equipment, food, and etc. You will have to follow these instructions by creating classes on both your WooCommerce account as well as your AccurateTax account. Additional details can be found in the Tax Class Mapping Instructions PDF document that should be linked on the main screen of your AccurateTax account. First, start on your WooCommerce account settings, once again found on that left-hand side, and then click the Tax tab. The Additional Tax Classes box lists all of your defined tax classes, and is where you will continue to add more. To add a new one, place your cursor in the box, type the Enter key to start a new line, and type in your tax class name. You will continue adding classes, one per line. When you have finished adding tax classes, scroll to the bottom and click the Save Changes button. Once again, as seen in the prior two steps, any tax class that has been added here must be also added to your AccurateTax account. You will go to your AccurateTax account, then Settings, and then Tax Classes. Add your new tax class and then map it to the applicable product tax class, again mapping them to all states. Once you have added your additional tax classes, you will want to make sure to assign your products to your classes. So this is the sixth step, and it is fairly easy. It involves assigning the appropriate products to use your new tax classes. To do so, you will edit a product by clicking Products, which is over here on the left column. Then, for the product that you will want to use a different class, you will click the Edit link when you hover over the product. Here, you will scroll to the Product Data section. Make sure Tax Status is set to Taxable, and in the Tax Class drop-down, you will choose the appropriate class from those you created above. Finally, scroll to the top and click the Update button in the right column. And if all is successful, everything on the back end should now be completed as far as configuring the plugin goes. Which brings us to our last step, step number 7, which involves testing the AccurateTax WooCommerce plugin through your own store. You will start by opening your store and adding one or more of your taxable products to your shopping cart. Then you will want to set your address to a valid address for a taxable state, and you should see a sales tax charge, which should also be added to the order total. So, finishing these steps will conclude the installation of the AccurateTax WooCommerce plugin on your store. If you happen to run into any trouble, please feel free to reference the instructions that are linked in the description below, as well as the Frequently Asked Questions link found right next to it. Please also feel free to contact us by emailing development@accurateTax.com, and thank you so much for watching today.